Hi, I'm the Moorlander and this is Moorlander EDC. Life can't get any better than this at the moment. Out in one of my favourite filming spots with one of my favourite items to review, and that is backpacks. Now especially this one, because being a proud Briton, I also like to show off products here from the UK, and this is from a Scottish company that has over 40 years experience making outdoors, hard-wearing outdoors gear. So this is the Harrier backpack from Highlander. Now this is what we're going to have a look at. So let's stop wasting time and turn the camera around to take a closer look. As we usually do, we'll go through some measurements, some materials, and then some of the features of the pack itself. Before we get into the measurements though, so this is the 35-litre version, which I guess you'd class, let's call this the medium, although 35 litres is, you know, it's substantial. There is a smaller version of this and a larger version of this, so when you have a look at the differences between them, there are some additional features that are slightly different. However, what you'll find is that they're very similar. They're either scaled up or scaled down between the smaller and the larger versions of this. But this is the pack for me. 35 litres I find is great for everyday use, but also getting out into the woods, getting out into the moorlands like this. 35 litres is for me, 28 to 30 litres is the sweet spot. So anything just a little bit more than that just means I can carry a little bit more. But as far as the measurements are concerned, this comes in at 530 millimeters by 330 millimeters by 160 millimeters deep. That's where you get that full 35 litres from. There are a few different compartments on this. The main compartment is, and this is just a pure guess, the main compartment is probably about 30 litres. And then you've got a few smaller compartments here on the front and a laptop sleeve on the back, which probably makes up another 5 or so. As far as the colours is concerned, there's a few different colours of these. As this is a military themed, military styled, military designed to be used by outdoor style backpack, then you'll tend to find that those colours are your standard kind of coyote. This is the Ranger Green, and then there's a black version as well. Now, as far as the features wise, oh sorry, I forgot about the material. So this is made from a 1000D polyester. All of the zippers on here are extremely large YKK zips. So you have those there. Where's them? They're on this side because I was pulling it around that side before. So they're all really nice to pull. They are the YC versions, and also these have been reversed stitched as well to make sure that the stitching is on the outside, which also makes them resistant to snagging and also dirt and crap and stuff from being able to get in there. They're not AquaGuard. I have had this out in the rain and it did a very good job. I would consider it a light to normal shower. It took me about 20 minutes to get back to the car, and everything that was in here was still dry. That doesn't mean that this is waterproof. It will repel a certain amount of water, but if you're in a torrential downpour and you don't have a cover for this, eventually it will get in. But you know, it is what it is. It did a very good job of keeping everything dry just through the natural kind of hydrostatic material properties that the polyester has, and the DWR coating that it has on here. All of your buckles on here are Duraflex buckles as well, which is great. I know a lot of people are huge Duraflex fans, so these are good too. So as I mentioned, so I would consider this to be a one compartment bag, mainly because the vast majority of the volume of it is in this main compartment. That's not to say that there are some other sections on here. So firstly, having a look at the front here, actually let's quickly just go down to the bottom first. So the bottom is completely flat on this, so there are no grommets on here to let out water or anything like that, and there are no lashing points. If they were to update this for future iterations, I think a couple of stitch lashing points on here would be excellent. I know people do like those, and then they can attach their own bungee cord or, you know, whatever it is that they choose to have them on here. But that's not to say that this isn't different from a lot of other companies do. Some of them just don't choose to put the lashing points on the bottom. getting back to the front, so you'll be able to see that we have this large PALS webbing panel on here that has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns and 2, 4, 5 rows on there. So if you want to add anything that is MOLLE compatible, then you can add this with all of this PALS webbing. Now I will say, because this is a military style backpack, there's plenty of PALS webbing on here if you do need to add expansion or modularity to this. Up above at the top of the PALS webbing, you have some hook and loop that has been stitched onto the webbing itself, so if you want to put your name or anything else on there, then you certainly can do. Now, actually, let's just skip to the side. I don't usually go to the side first, but I think it's worthwhile talking about the side, mainly because we've just been talking about the PALS webbing. So here on the side, now both of the sides are identical. So you have that side and you have that side, and they are both the same. The reason I'm just skipping to these mainly is just to continue with that PALS webbing. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows with 3 columns on each of those. But then you also have 2 compression straps. So you have one at the top so that you can pull your pack in and up, and then you have one at the bottom here so that you can then cinch your pack down. If you need to attach anything to the side here, you can pass these through these compression straps. There isn't a pocket here at the bottom though, like you get with some other packs, but again, it just keeps an easier profile. I'm trying to think of the word there. It keeps a better slimline profile. I forget what the word is. I'm terrible. Punch in the face. So it just depends on whether you prefer the pocket, whether you prefer it without there, but you can still attach to the side. You just need to make sure that you batten it down a little bit more to stop it from falling down. So that's the sides. The main reason I went to those first is when we're talking about these compression straps. I like how compression straps go over the zip, mainly because that will pull in the entire pack. Some companies choose to put it on the inside of the zip, which doesn't really make sense to me. Again, you could be a pro 4-zip, pro rear zip. I'm a pro 4-zip, and yeah, these sit perfectly where I like them. So you have a couple of sections here on the front. The first one, if I pull this down like so, this is your easy quick access panel. On the inside here you have a slanted pocket, so when you put into this, you have to put it into this angle for it to then be able to sit down, which is great if you're going around, if you're traveling a lot with this and things are jostling about or it goes upside down. A slanted pocket like this is brilliant because it will stop it from spilling out. Uses a really nice tough mesh material. It's very similar to the mesh that you find on some kind of cool ghillie platforms, which is really nice. And then on the bottom, so this goes all the way down to the bottom. The width of this is just about kind of 10 inches. My span is roughly 9. There's 9 plus an extra inch. And then on the front here, which is another feature that I like that they've added, so all of these pockets are also internally lined as well. The lining on here is nice. The main reason that I talk about lining is because on the front here you have these stitching points. If it is that you're putting something on the inside here and this is rubbing against those stitching points, this will eventually degrade how tough they're actually fastened on there. What this lining does is stop that. It also protects whatever you've got in here to stop those stitching points from rubbing on that and damaging anything on the inside. Then you also have this extra little zip pocket here, which you can get into and get what you like. I quite like where this is orientated as well, mainly because if you need to get into this, all you have to do is just open this pocket here at the top, and then you have quick access to this pocket here, which is nice. I think they put some thought into that. Behind this then is an additional panel or an additional pocket. So this one opens very similarly, splays open. So at the moment I have my tech pack from Exeter, which I put in every single pack when I'm testing these out, because I do use these. I've used this to go to work in, and I've also used this for days out like this whilst I'm either filming or I've gone for a walk with my wife and my daughters. So you get a little bit more use out of this one. Not necessarily that this one isn't useful, but there's a little bit more organisation in here. So this is more of your kind of your admin panel rather than just your quick access dump style panel. So in here you have a pocket that you can put in here. Did I have my mobile? Oh, I've left my mobile phone on the floor. So that fits in here. You also have some slots that you can put either tools or pens into. Then at the bottom here there is an additional mesh pocket which is made from the same mesh that we looked at in the front there, which is, yeah, really nice. The zippers on here, I love these zip pulls. What are the I'm trying to think of the zipper pulls that you get on the VanQuest stuff. Really similar to those. These are great mainly because you can just grab it. It's like a paracord, but it's the smaller version of the paracord, not the 550, whatever the smaller version of that is. But if you've got gloves on, or you just got dirty hands and you want to keep the crap off your fingers away from the tracts on the zips, you just kind of get your finger in there, pull it open. I like, again, just a nice little feature that they've added. Moving further up to the top of the pack here, so you have a morale patch section. Have I got? Oh, I have, yeah. Here we go. So here's a little morale patch that you can put on there. People like a good morale patch, but they have that. Rather than it just being a small kind of 3x2 section, this goes all the way across the front, which is nice. Again, I know there's a lot of people out there that really do like to dig the morale patches. Then above this morale patch section, you then have another pocket. So this is designed for quick access, but this is a fleece line pocket, and it goes from this, the seam that is here, all the way to the seam that is here, and then goes down about that. So that's about 6 or 7 inches. So if you need to put glasses in here, if you've got maybe your mobile phone in here, if you've got some sort of optics in here, you can put those in and they'll be nice and safe with this, with the fleece lining that's on there. So that's the main kind of additional pockets. The main pocket is this one here. Now, this definitely isn't what I'd consider a usual EDC. So there's a few things that I'm out filming today. One of them is for my other channel, More Than Tactical. So this isn't generally what I would carry to the office. I just need to preface that before I open this up. Now, where was that? So the zips that are on here, you can just open the zips ever so slightly, grab it on top of that and rip it open. That is one of the best things about this pack. If you've got something in here, you need to get quick access to it. As mentioned, open the zips ever so slightly, bosh, perfect clamshell opening, which is a huge thumbs up for me, and I know it's a huge thumbs up for a lot of you out there. Now, as I mentioned, so I've actually got some Wiley X glasses in here. I've got my comms cans, and I've also got my helmet in here as well, and a balaclava. So let's call this the tactical EDC carry, but this is, as I mentioned, this is for something else. And then I've also got a shirt in here as well. But so as I mentioned, so 35 litres. I'm guessing this is just a pure guess. I'm sure you probably agree with me here. At least this large panel is probably about 30 litres of that, which is great. So in the lid here, this is lined as well, which I think is brilliant. You have another zip pocket here, which uses the same mesh in here. Then on this side, just a huge pocket, which I think is all that it needs to be. You can put everything in here and you can get everything so that it's nice and organised. Now, to help you with that organising, so across the inside here and across the inside here, so if I maybe put it at an angle like this, you have additional mesh pockets. So there's one there and there's an additional one here, which I think is great. A lot of companies miss the sides. It's an area that is so useful to be able to just get in and out and just be able to pick things up. So these two pockets that are here, you also have these two pockets on the downside there as well. Plus, there is an additional panel that's in here as well. So this is all hook and loop. The whole back side of this is hook and loop. So if you have other pouches that you use, if you have packing cubes that you use, any sort of additional organisation that you like to kind of compartmentalise all of your gear once it's in here. Maybe you want to keep your food stuff away from your cooking stuff, away from your tech stuff. Maybe you are using this for everyday use. You want to put your laptop in, well maybe not on this section, but you want to put your electronics in here, but then you also want to keep your gym kits separate away from those. You can compartmentalise all of that and use this, you can use this hook and loop here at the back. For this additional pocket, this has a nice large zip on there using the same mesh that you find in the rest of the pack. And because it's all hook and loop, you can put this where you want, or if you want to, you can take it out and then just have that all in here. Really good, really well engineered main compartment. The fact that they've put those additional pockets here on the side, I think is great. A lot of companies miss that, and it's a shame that they do. Now getting back to the outside, on the top, really nice large grab handle. I can fit my whole hand in there, no issues whatsoever. I'm more than happy with how strong that is. You could easily throw this around and not have any worries. Now when you get onto the back, because I'm sure at this point you might be thinking, well, is there anything in here that I can put my laptop into? That main compartment, there isn't a dedicated laptop section to it, however, there is one here at the back. So this is another double zip, so whether you're a lefty or a righty, you can pull it down either side. On the inside, I can confirm, so I travel to work with a 16-inch laptop. My 16-inch laptop fits in here perfectly, and I'd say there's probably, say, ½ an inch to an inch at the top, just to give it some room to kind of move around whilst walking. It does go all the way down to the bottom. It's not a suspended floor, but with the style of pack that it is, I wouldn't expect this to have a suspended floor. But this can also double up as your hydration section. So there is a piece of hook and loop here that you can easily, I was going to say you can fit up to a 3 litre, but if you got more than a 3 litre, you could probably fit even more than that. Any of them, 3 litres is generally the largest that you get. But you can suspend that in, pass it back into this section behind here, which is where you'd put your laptop into, and then yeah, you're good to go. There is this additional kind of sleeve in here, that's where your laptop will go, so if you wanted to put more stuff behind there into this, then you can do that as well. This keeps popping up every time I push that, because there is additional padding in here. It's not a frame sheet as such, but it's an additional frame liner that has this padding in here. I'd say the padding feels about 10mm thick, which again is kind of standard. But then on the outside, to make sure that you've got padding and also breathability so that you can get airflow through here, especially if you're out in the warmth, then you have a fairly standard 2 pads, one either side your spine and then one here across on your lumbar region. I'd say the most that I've carried on this is probably about 10 kilos. Thinking about it, might be about 8, maybe 10 kilos. No issues whatsoever. It carried perfectly and just as I'd imagine. The opening for the hydration port is here. It's actually on the flap itself rather than it being on the top of the pack. It's just something that you just need to do. So once you've got that in there, you can then have to feed that out to be able to zip it up. It's just a different way of doing it. It's no better or worse than any other pack that I've tried. As I mentioned, double zip these up, and then yeah, you are good to go. Now the suspension on this is a very nice suspension system. As far as the main straps are concerned, so the reason it's stuck on there, that was me messing around before. Nice and wide, these are really wide. They're a good 2.5 to 2 inches wide, which is very good for being able to spread that load across a large area. As mentioned, probably about 10 kilos that I was out, no issues for the entire day, just out walking. There was my wife and my 2 daughters, and as generally tends to happen, I generally tend to carry all of their stuff with me as well. But yeah, sits great. it's very similar to the 511. Now, I'm sure the elephant in the room is you will look at this and you'll think it's very similar to the 511 Rush series. And it is. I mean, it is. And I mentioned that when I was there with the guys at IWA. However, I think this is sufficiently different. I don't think it's what you class as a clone. But I can definitely see there must have been some inspiration from them. But instead of a yoke system, so this one, instead of the yoke, just goes with single straps without the yoke attaching between those. Very nice padded. It's a very simple kind of strap suspension system. You do have a I've got bark on this off my bag, off this tree. You do have a sternum strap on here. The sternum strap itself goes up and down rather than it being used on a ladder style system, so it has a slider. I do quite like the sliders, one because they're easy to adjust, and sometimes they'll actually self-adjust, so if they're in the wrong place they'll just kind of move to where they need to be. You've got some elastic here at the top for your hydration hose, and then there are some different additional PALS webbing sections here down at the bottom if you want to attach a radio or compass or whatever it is that you're into. The straps themselves, let me just pull this through. So here at the bottom you have your buckles. What they've done with the buckles is they've just pulled them through in here. Again, it's just a nice little feature that the buckles are out of the way whilst walking. If you've got things banging against your buckles or they're catching on things, it's nice that they're just kind of tucked up here into the straps themselves in this kind of buckle garage. And then moving down, last but not least, to the bottom, you have a waist. You have a waist strap, a waist belt strap. It's a belt, idiot. Anyway, where were I? This isn't removable, so it's something that you need to take into account if it is that you're going to pick up one of these. Now, what I will say about this is it's actually quite small, and that, I say small, so what I mean by that is the depth of this is actually really nice, because when it sits on your hips you can use this to take up some of the weight of your pack. The length of these just kind of comes round halfway around where your love handles are, and then you can attach this up to the front. I've never found one that they're as short as these. However, I'm kind of convinced that they don't need to be as long as often as they need to be, mainly because if you don't want to use these and you're just using this for everyday use, they don't kind of poke out now with wings kind of thing. So I like how these have been set up. You've also got additional PALS webbing on these, again, if you want to add some modularity to these. The depth of the padding on here is probably the same depth as these. I was guessing this is around about 20 mil. It's a good amount of padding. The depth of the padding on here as well is roughly the same, around about 20 mil as well. Now, I think the Harrier series is a shining example of what Highlander do exceptionally well. That's creating a product that marries quite a few things together which I feel are important nowadays. First one being great construction and the materials that are in here. Second one being that there are features on this that people actually need, rather than just random superfluous things that they just threw in there because they thought it'd be cool. This does exactly what you need it to do. And three, which I think is one of the most important points of all of this, is that this pack is all of those points, plus you're not going to break the bank picking one of these up. You can pick up one from other similar manufacturers that would be 3 or 4 times the amount, and there's very little difference between the two, which is a huge pat on the back that Highlander, using that 40 years of experience that they have been able to throw into a pack like this. So yeah, really like this pack. Now, I saw this first at IWA. I was at IWA last month and spotted this, managed to have a chat with the Highlander team. So this was sent to me, but I will say that with the discussions that I've had with them, that everything, I have given, I suppose, towards the end here, I have given some personal opinions that I am free to give my own personal opinions. If I hated the bag, then I'd tell you. If I didn't, then well, you get the content that we've got here today. So yes, now what I will do is I want to finish off by saying a huge thank you to the team at Highlander. I will leave all of their links below so that you can see more from them and the other packs that they have. I'll also leave some of my social media links here on Highlander EDC and my sister channel, Highlander Tactical. But for now, as always, stay safe, stay Highlander, and stay EDC. And then we'll have a look at and so this comes in at 33 centimeters or 330 millimeters by ever get those times where you disappoint yourself that much you just want to punch yourself in the nuts, or maybe ovaries? I know we're keeping this as sexual equality as possible. Yeah, it's just one of those times. Why can't I read? I know why I can't read, because I'm dyslexic as frickin' frick, but yeah, just a quick jab to the balls, just to go, listen, sort your act out. Bosh. Okay, give me 10 minutes, I just need to, compose myself. Now, where were we? One of the things that I usually do, we'll go through some I think that one was better. I had to do two versions of the ending there. One of them I came across as a bit of a dick. Not maybe a bit of a dick. Anyway, so yeah, hope you're all good. See you soon. That was cheesy as hell. I'll leave it in. Bye.